This message is brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Venture X offers the premium benefits you expect, like a $300 annual Capital One travel credit for less than you expect. Elevate your earn with unlimited double miles on every purchase, bringing you one step closer to your next dream destination. Plus, enjoy access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. The Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey there, fictional friends, and welcome to another episode of Fully Booked. I'm Megan.
I'm Arthur.
And you're still here.
Still, yes. I didn't die.
Well, sorry, we didn't have an episode out last week. Apologies.
Yeah.
Life be lifing right now. We're very busy. But we're back this week with recommendations because 'tis the season and why the hell not, honestly.
Yeah, summer's here.
Exactly. In case you weren't aware, we've officially passed the summer solstice. So we're now officially in the summer season, even though in our neck of the woods it just started to feel that way.
Just now.
Yeah.
Like last 3
A week
days.
ago.
Yeah,
Maybe.
at best.
Yeah, exactly. So we figured we would take it easy breezy today and we would come at you with some summer recommendations of different types of stories and stuff like that, things that we feel would be suitable to read for the summer season.
Yeah, super easy, light and breezy.
Cover girl.
What?
Sorry, I said easy breezy before and I couldn't. I wanted to continue, but I was like, no, don't do it. So anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Before we get started on all of that, Arthur, do you want to tell everybody what's on your nightstand? Because we haven't done a what's on your nightstand segment in ages.
Yeah, seriously, that's not good.
I know Shreen and I haven't done one in ages as well.
Damn. I'm reading Old Guns, which is a military sci-fi adventure by Nicholas Hansberry Smith, who I love, who's written a bunch of books from his insane, I don't know how many books, elegy
Oh, yeah.
of what he's working on now. And it is also by J.N. Chaney.
Okay.
So essentially, this whole thing follows retired, very grumpy old military men that are summoned back to provide intel, but also at the end of the day, they will, just go and fight
Right.
the alien force that is invading Earth yet again, that killed the family of one of these guys,
Okay.
like a long time ago.
Oh, that's fun.
So-
It's giving like, what is it? It's giving like, I'm too old for this shit, like Lethal Weapon.
I think literally on the cover somewhere or in the description they say that.
Oh, really?
So that's exactly what it is.
That's great.
It's great.
Oh.
It's fucking funny. They're all like, "Yes, I'm too old for this shit. Can't believe I'm doing this again." No. It's yeah.
And then they
it's,
just begrudgingly do it, and you're like, oh,
yes.
look, you're still good at it.
No. Seriously, it's great. Nicholas Hansberry Smith has a really good way of pacing a book that is quick to read. It gets into this action and everything
Yeah.
right away. There's no like, here is the universe and the aliens for 37 pages.
Well, you read that book of his, what was it, Into the Storms last year, and it was like your favorite book of 2025,
Yes.
from what I remember.
It was amazing. I was like staying until 1 a.m. reading the chapters.
Yeah,
and
you loved it.
it was
I remember
so
this.
fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a spin-off of the...
Of his series. Yes,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah, that's it. He's got like a ton of books, and is very much, that's it, like an action sci-fi writer from what I can tell, sort of.
Yes, I mean, remember we did interview him. So he does action sci-fi. That's
Yeah.
kind of what he's writing on now. But he's, kind of like comes from that expertise, I guess, when he worked for consulting for government stuff and whatever it is. So, yeah, anyways.
Military knowledge, basically.
No, it wasn't military. It was kind of like, what happens if there's an apocalypse and how do you get prepared and stuff like that. And
What a niche to work in.
awesome, man.
So like strategizing, basically.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, seriously, it's been a while. Go check out the interview on the website.
Yeah,
and
it'll be on the
everything.
website at fullybooked.ca if you want to check it out. I don't remember the specifics of what it was that he was doing.
Yeah, I'll link it in the episode
Okay.
descriptions anyway. So.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun.
What about you?
So, I mean, gosh, since the last time we did this, I couldn't even tell you how many how many books I've read.
You read too much.
Well, it's a pastime. Surprisingly, this is why we have a podcast about it, because I do kind of like doing it. I will indicate what I'm reading right now is Molka by Monika Kim, This is her second novel following last year's The Eyes Are the Best Part, which I read and fucking loved. I think it was on my top list of 2025, if I'm
Right.
not mistaken. This is a follow-up to it. It's not, I'm not saying it's like a direct sequel or anything like that, but it is set in South Korea. The term Molka is a Korean-specific term for spy cameras that are secretly installed in places like public bathrooms and in hotel rooms and things illegally.
That's fucked up.
Apparently,
Okay.
this is a real phenomenon. There's a disclaimer at the beginning of the novel that indicates that this is a real phenomenon in South Korea that is a pretty prevalent issue, in which there are men who are doing these things and then selling the footage online or streaming them online for strangers to watch. And so
Okay.
women are having every single part of their rights and their privacy violated, and there is apparently not much being done to counteract this
That is insane.
in any major sort of capacity. So this novel plays off of this very, unfortunately, very real, very traumatic phenomenon that is occurring there, and follows multiple POVs of different characters, one of whom is a young woman to whom this is occurring, although where I'm at in the novel, she doesn't necessarily know that. She works in an office and there are cameras installed in the bathrooms in the office building. The man who works in IT who is doing this in the first place and has set up all of these cameras,
Right.
as well as a couple of other characters that we're getting little bits and pieces from, so you get a different sort of viewpoint depending on whose POV you're following as to how they're feeling about any given situation. And let me tell you, the person who is doing this, it is a fucked up POV to be reading.
What, they're justifying it or something?
100%.
Oh, wow.
100%. And is kind of sort of using this as an opportunity to quote unquote find a nice girl. Bro, it's so much.
It must have been very interesting to write or to get in that mindset.
Yeah, she's obviously really put herself into an interesting mindset for this novel. Monika Kim has this way of writing that gets right into the thick of really, really serious issues while still keeping you actually entertained while you're reading
Right.
the novel. It's a horror novel. So what I'm looking forward to, because The Eyes Are the Best Part, I will say, has a pretty big female revenge component to it. And I am waiting for
in
that
this one?
female revenge component in this one, because I cannot fucking wait for this character to get exactly what is coming to him. So I'm really looking forward
enough.
to seeing that. But it's so interesting to read things from these sorts of perspectives in a completely different country with different customs, how
Yeah.
people interact with one another and things like that as well, and what is customary, and how in situations like this where women's autonomy is taken away from them, they are still somehow the party that is shamed
Right.
for this footage existing. And it's just a really interesting kind of political landscape that exists in multiple places in the world, but it's interesting to read it from this perspective.
Wow.
So I'm really looking forward to kind of getting through the rest of this and seeing how I feel about it by the end, but I'm really enjoying it so far.
Sounds very interesting.
I am uncomfortable. So anyway, so let's get into some summer reading recommendations, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I tried to kind of, I guess, split my recommendations. I have a bunch of them, but I tried to split them into different genres to a degree. I mean, I have a tendency to gravitate towards things that are horror and thriller and things like that, but I do read in all genres. So I did, when putting together my list, I did try to actually branch out a teeny tiny bit and at least have a couple of other types of recommendations in other genres that weren't just read this horror book during the summer, because some people are what the fuck? What do you mean? I can't do
Summer's
that.
for thrillers and stuff. What are you talking about?
I mean, I agree very much, but there are just as many
And
people
romance.
who would think that, yeah, that's it, that summer
Of
is
course.
for easy to read romance, very light, easy fare, or
It's for
maybe
those fling books.
yeah, that's it. Or very light, easy, cozy fantasy types of novels and stuff like that, right? Everybody's different. So I think it kind of depends, what sort of reader you are. I don't think this is something we've talked about on the podcast with you before. Are you a mood reader at all?
Maybe.
I love that you don't.
No.
No.
No, I'm going to pick up a book, and if I like it, I'm going to read it.
Yeah, you're so good at this, eh? You're so much better than I am. If you have a book that you're and this is the next one that I want to get to, you won't change your mind in between
No.
finishing one and starting the other. You'll just do it. Meanwhile, I'm just there and I'm nope, never mind. Changed my mind. I want something completely different.
No, not at all. When I pick up a book, if I like it because I read the description or whatever it is, read a couple of first pages, I'm like, yeah, I want to finish this. It doesn't matter if it's winter, summer, or if it's raining or snowing. It's
I don't think you realize that this is like a skill. Because Shireen and I have had entire episodes where we've talked about mood reading.
I
If you guys
remember.
go back and listen to those, we've talked about those at length. And both of us are so terrible, especially me. But we're both pretty terrible at doing that. Like having a set TBR list is almost impossible for me. I
don't
go
know.
off vibes. If I have an ARC to read, obviously that
Yeah.
will be like the next thing that I get to. But outside of that, I'm like, I don't know, what tickles my fancy right now when I'm staring at the bookshelf, and that is what I will pick up.
I don't know. I think the only time that I would have something akin to this would be like if I read 4 sci-fi novels in a row, it'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll pick up a thriller or,
Yeah.
a horror book or whatever it
Well, I
is.
mean,
But
that-
otherwise,
That's something else that
it's
we
like a genre saturation almost.
Yeah,
as
well, because
opposed to
that's
anything
something else
else.
that Shireen and I have talked about too, right? Because she struggled with that a lot with like a genre saturation in the fantasy
Mm-hmm.
space, and realizing like, especially like after becoming a mother and not having as much time to get into maybe these very epic fantasy series in which there's like a ton of world building and
Yeah.
a lot of backstory and many details that you need to remember, particularly between books. That's something that she's actually kind of gravitating away from right now, and I can only imagine that happens to people when you have just like changes in life in general.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which is why I feel like these kinds of summer reads sort of come into play at that point, because if they're sort
It's
of
a palate cleanser.
it's a standalone, it's like got a beginning, a
Yeah.
middle, and an end, and then it's finished, and you don't have to be like, oh shit, then I'm gonna have to pick up the next one, and I'm gonna have to remember the 850 pages that I read previously and all of the world building
That's
that
it.
took place in that entire sphere. So yeah, maybe for some folks like that's what you prefer, but it's just like not something that works for me, I find, at this time of year. And I'm a very seasonal reader. If it's hot and like gross outside, then I have a tendency to gravitate towards the types of reads that I feel suit that season. And if it's fall, then I gravitate towards certain other types of reads. If it's winter, I'm looking for certain things. Even if it's spring, like I'm looking for certain types of stories. And I've noticed this about myself, and I feel like I vacillate a little bit all throughout the year.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, to kick things off, I figured I would keep things light and easy, and so I'm starting things off with like in the romance genre.
Of course.
Essentially, easy reads. Obviously, the first author who came to mind for me when I was like, oh, okay, in like the romance genre was Emily Henry, because she has a number of different books, a lot of which are set during like with that kind of vibe to them. They're contemporary romance, but they have kind of a sort of beach read feel to them very often.
Right.
So I was trying to decide, I was like, God, which one am I going to pick? Because I've read 4 or 5 of her books at this point. So I was trying to decide, all of them would have fit to
Are
a
they
degree.
standalone or are they like
No,
series
they're all
and stuff?
standalone.
Okay,
They're all
there you go.
standalone. But I was trying to pick what I thought would be kind of the best initial choice, and I actually did pick the one that title-wise makes the most sense for our recommendations today, which is called Beach Read. It was
Okay.
published in 2020.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. It follows a woman named January who is staying or spending the summer, I should say, at her father's, it turns out, beach property in, I want to say New England, if I'm not mistaken. And she is a writer, and she's using the opportunity to try and complete her novel, but she's also struggling. This is post her father passing away, and she's also unfortunately found out some things about him that she was not aware of while he was still alive, and she's trying to come to terms with a lot of what she's
Okay, so there were bad things.
yeah, not well.
okay.
Yeah, like it's difficult to. I don't want to give away the whole plot of the novel if
Give
you
me the
haven't
plot.
read it.
I want to know.
I know we came out 6 years ago. Like, I'm sorry if you don't know, and they're currently literally filming the adaptation of it right now.
Oh, cool.
Starring Phoebe Dynevor from Bridgerton fame, Daphne, and Patrick Schwarzenegger, which I know a lot of people had a lot of feelings about, and I get you. He does not suit this character at all. I'm not sure how this whole property is going to turn out. It's going to be a weird adaptation, but we're getting a bunch of them now because People We Meet on Vacation did quite well
Right, yes,
at the
yes.
beginning of this year. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot of it, and a lot of them have been greenlit as well for series adaptations or film adaptations. So I think we're going to start seeing them trickling in. Anyway, we'll see how it turns out. I do not know. This was the first Emily Henry book I ever read, and I honestly quite enjoyed it. She does have a way of writing characters that I find are very endearing, and so I don't forget about, like, a lot of romance can be very forgettable to a degree. If you've read one, you've read many, sort of.
Right.
Her writing is the type in which I find I remember the characters specifically. And this was just, since it was my first one, I found it impactful at the time that I read it, so this was my choice for like my initial one.
Okay.
Okay, your turn, you go.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I am going to go in a similar vein, and that is romance adjacent. Let's put it that way, because there is
I know
some
what you're going to do.
my book. It's romance adjacent, but it is also very fun adventure, very much kind of like open and close type of book. There's no, kind of weird ending.
Need for a sequel necessarily?
No, not really. Yeah, they
No.
could totally do it.
Sure.
It would be great.
Yeah.
Because the comparative of this book to what movie it kind of is, there's a million sequels for this
that's
movie.
true.
It is called Fast and Fastidious by R.M. Caldwell. Okay? Basically, if you want to get a resume of this book in a few words, it is Bridgerton meets Fast and the Furious.
We were so fortunate to be able to get a copy of this earlier in the year. There is a review up on the website if you would like to go and check that out. But Arthur read it and thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's absolutely insane, because I was like, how do you even mix all that together? And it fucking works in this one specifically.
It's
there is a way.
Regency era Fast and the Furious, baby.
It's literally Regency era, so it is set in the 1810s of England, and it follows the story of Lucy Elliott, who is, a sharp, rule-following young woman who also happens to have a scandalous secret for the time, because she sneaks to watch the night races, which are basically, drag car races, but they are done with carriages. And people like modify their carriages.
Oh my God.
There's like physics involved, which is fucking cool.
I can't believe
and
that.
everything. So yeah, she sneaks to watch the illegal carriage races, where class lines blur, essentially, and speed is the only thing that matters. It's great, seriously.
And family, babe. Come on.
A little bit.
Okay.
There's a little bit of that. Yeah.
There has to be.
I know. And so essentially what starts with her kind of like sneaking away into this whole thing and being involved into this scandalous world, ends up basically being there's a lot, but it works. I promise you it works. Fucking pick it up. It's so good. It ends up being a spy mission.
Yeah.
A murder plot.
Wow.
That turns into something that might destroy England as a country in general, because it's also happening during the war of France and England and everything. So all that somehow works together. It's fucking good. It's great. The way that it's written is amazing. It's seriously, I don't know. You just got to pick it up.
That's fantastic.
It's short. It's not too long. It really does the job. It gets into the action, and it's just really fun.
I think I'm just really happy that you were afforded the opportunity to bring this back up on the podcast, because it's mostly Shireen and I doing it. So we didn't read it. So we haven't had that much of an opportunity to talk about it. So it's so nice.
You guys need to read it, seriously.
Because when we had read the description, when we got the copy of it, we were so excited because it's so fun.
It's so fun.
It is.
Seriously, it's so good.
R.M. Caldwell is brilliant. This is just such a clever and fun idea. And I agree. I think this is totally perfect because it's set during like this season in London, which would have been the summer, right? So.
Yep, exactly it.
Brilliant. Okay, my next one, because that's it. I have a couple of romance, and then the other ones definitely veer off from that genre. So I'm sorry, everyone. My second one, which again I've read several of the books from these authors, is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. If you are unaware, Christina Lauren is actually a pair of authors who write together, Christina Hobbs and Lauren Billings. They have a number of contemporary romances to their name. I have read several. The Unhoneymooners was one of the earliest ones that I read, and I think it's one of their most popular as well. I feel like I see it come up on a regular basis, and it is just, it's got just the right balance between serious and fun and kind of smarmy and sarcastic because of the characters in it, which I always love, and it's got a fun tropical setting for part of the novel as well, which I think makes it perfect for this time of year. This follows a young woman named Olive, whose twin sister is getting married, and her soon-to-be her brother-in-law, so the fiance, whatever, of the sister's fiance, has a brother who is like her mortal enemy.
All right.
So it's very, very enemies to lovers. They hate each other. These two, his name is Ethan. They hate each other. But of course, she's the maid of honor and he's the best man at the wedding. After a pretty severe case of food poisoning takes place during the reception of the wedding, in which everyone gets sick other than Olive and Ethan, in order to not have to lose the deposit for the honeymoon, they go on the honeymoon together just to go on the trip. And of course, obviously, as enemies to lovers go, things develop into
kill each
something.
other.
No. Oh, it's a different kind of book. Yeah.
Come on,
things
man.
develop into something else, but it's fun and like funny. The two of them, they've got great banter. It's just like a fun story. It's a really silly sort of happenstance. And there's a lot of surprisingly, after the honeymoon portion of the novel is over, there's a lot of surprisingly serious stuff that comes up. But the relationship that develops between Olive and Ethan is very sweet and very genuine. And it's just, again, like a fun read. And that's it. Like I said, they've got like a fun honeymoon setting, even though the two of them aren't married, and it's great.
All right. Hey, that sounds fun. That could be like, that just sounds like a premise of a movie.
Oh, definitely.
That has happened, or they could do a movie so easily.
You could easily make this into
Yeah.
a rom-com. I am shocked that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right.
What's your next one?
My next one, we are going a little bit into a law detective genre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what? When I was reading it, I was like, okay, I'm not sure. This is kind of like a law thriller, which
Oh, yeah.
a lot of it happens kind of like in the courtroom or adjacent to it. So I was like, kind of like, I don't know.
I don't
That's
know
going
how
to
I'm gonna
be
feel about
interesting.
this. Yeah.
Fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's great. It is called The Right to Remain, a Jack Switek novel by James Grippando. So the whole Jack Switek, there is a lot of their novels that exists already and that are written very much in the same vein. But this one, The Right to Remain, I read it. It's one of those that you don't really have to read the previous ones to kind of like get into the swing of things.
Yeah.
They're a little bit standalone, even though there's, some storylines that follow through. But essentially, he is a lawyer, right, who's the defense.
Yeah.
And he gets this absolutely, for his situation, ridiculous client, because the client, who's facing a murder charge, decides to just not talk to anyone.
Like speak at all?
He doesn't speak.
Got it.
Yeah, there's things that happen, and he just doesn't talk to anyone. Literally, he doesn't talk to his lawyer. He doesn't talk when he's, being questioned at the court and everything and whatever. So it is for Jack, essentially, to kind of figure out what the hell is happening. Who is he protecting, or who are they protecting?
Okay.
And why is this happening? And the whole kind of like background understory of this whole thing. The setup is very clean. It is very tense. It is very easy to kind of like picture what is going on. Like I said, it's not one of those novels that you have to kind of read the previous ones to get what's happening. You really get into it and you really try to understand and see where this goes.
Okay.
It is, yeah, you know what? I liked it very much. There's even some action towards the middle and the end because, of course, there's some illegal shit that happens abound.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is fun. It is easy to read. And it is not what you would expect because I read it, read the cover and I was like, okay, I don't know, law thriller type of thing. I thought it was just going to be everything in the courtroom
Sure.
and it's going to be like, you can't handle the truth. I don't know. You know what I mean? It wasn't. There was a lot more.
I love that that's where we go automatically.
Of course. There was a lot more to it, and it was just a really fun read.
Nice. Okay, cool. My next one is, I've veered off. I'm sorry, guys. The rest of them are like a little bit darker in tone for anyone who is not expecting that. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe this is the first episode you're listening to. So my next one is The Resort by Sara Ochs. This
Oh,
is...
I heard of that one.
Yeah, well, we have it, so...
Yeah, I remember. I think you told me about this when you were reading it initially.
I must have done. I must have. Yeah, that's it. See, this is what happens in our house a lot is the conversation back and forth that happens. So we both pick up little bits about the novels that other people are reading, even if we've not read them. So sometimes someone will mention something or I'll see something online and be like, oh, I know what that is. Even though I don't know what the actual full plot is, I will know what people are talking
Right,
about.
that's it. Exactly.
So this is a thriller very much, and it has like that kind of beach read vibe to it. It is set on an island in Thailand, in Koh Sang. It follows a multitude of different expats, some American, some English, who have found themselves on the island. Some of them have been there for a number of years and have moved there. And particularly, it follows a group of people who do like diving instruction on the island. And it does also follow an American like travel influencer type who's there also on the island as well. They are getting to like know one another. It's sort of like all the dynamics between the different characters. And of course, after a tourist turns up dead, after she was at a party with all of the people who were involved in the cast of characters, one morning she turns up dead, drowned in the water. Obviously, there's an investigation and all of the different people who are part of this cast of characters begin to question maybe if someone was responsible for this and if it wasn't an accident that she died, essentially.
Because it looks like an accident?
Initially, it looks like maybe she went out on her own when she wasn't supposed to prior to the expedition for the diving instruction and she maybe drowned.
Okay.
However, there are memories that different people have of the night prior at like a bonfire party and even prior to that in which she appears to be appealing for help from different people. And you don't know why right away. And so it all kind of like twists and turns together. But like it's very fast paced. There are a lot of twists and turns within it, including, I will say again, I will not spoil anything, but I will say right at the very, very end, essentially in the epilogue, that there's like an additional twist on something with a particular character that you're like, oh God, wow, okay, there's even more going on with this person. So you know what? It was fast paced. It feels like something like you were saying about The Right to Remain as well. It just feels like something that you would throw into your beach bag. You know,
right.
That's kind of how I feel about all of these ones that I have on my list. That's what they feel to me. I would throw them into my beach bag and take them with me, either on vacation or for a beach day or to the pool or something. Like that feels like what I would do.
Is it one of those that kind of ends with a possible exploration of something else afterwards, or it's just very much
I wouldn't
close?
say, like, yes, maybe, but it will take a particular major character realizing something for that to happen, and I don't necessarily know that the door's open to that, but it's very much a people are not what you think of them at face value type of story.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's solid.
Cool.
Okay.
Like it.
Yeah.
All right. For me, we are going into the sci-fi era, genre, etc., full of action, right? So for this one, I know you kind of mentioned Into the Storm, but it is not the one that I'm recommending because this one that I read,
Yes.
called Rhino, The Rise of a Warrior, it is
right.
by Nicholas Sansbury Smith
I
again.
read multiple of his books, but I was like, I
Yes.
cannot for the life of me remember what any of them are called.
Yeah, so this one, it is great because it is essentially a prequel to
Yes.
the whole Hell Divers universe that he has, which is, I think, 13, if not 14 books at this point, because, you know, he keeps writing them, and there's spin-offs and kind of like prequels and stuff that happens. It is a kind of like, think post-apocalyptic Jesus.
What are you thinking of right now?
Fallout.
Oh, okay, got
I was
it.
trying to say vault, but I was like, no, wait, that's
They're in a vault. That's the difference.
in this one.
In Fallout.
Yes,
In
yes,
Fallout,
I know.
they're in a
No, but I think also in this one they
Oh,
are.
really?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think I read it like last year or something. But anyways, yeah. So it kind of has that vibe because it is very close to that.
Yeah.
But also, it is a survival story. It is very emotional. It essentially follows this, call it kid at the beginning, who, you know, gets captured during a exploration when they're trying to go out of their vault and understand kind of like what's going on.
Okay.
He gets captured by the people who live above the earth, and everything's basically fucked up. Like, there are giant creatures and fucked up things happening, and it is basically a post-apocalyptic world. And it follows him as he tries to survive the people who captured him, who are just very insane. Think like Mayan style type of people, you know, from back in the days. And, you know, there is cannibalism and there's survival, and it's very much kind of like dog eats dog world type of thing, you know? And it follows him of becoming essentially this underdog, top dog, who becomes this crazy warrior, and you follow all of the suffering that he has to go through and all of his successes and, you know, character building and everything. Seriously, it's fucking good. It is hard to describe, but it was very fun to read. It is also very hot when you read it, because it's just hot all the time. They go through jungles and stuff and whatever. So
I thought they were on like a planet that was really hot or something. I was
yeah,
like,
I mean,
oh.
it is kind of like in the
Okay.
summer and stuff. So yeah, it is one of those that you feel the heat of what is happening, but also the environmental aspect of things, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Seriously, it's really fun.
Okay, cool.
I liked it a lot.
Nice. My next one falls into the horror genre. However, I will say that, like, if you are a little bit, I don't know, if you're a bit squeamish or icked out by things, this isn't something that's necessarily going to affect you. And it has such beautiful scenery described, and the setting is so interesting and things like that, that I honestly feel like it's something that will appeal to a lot of people who like a kind of general sort of like old-timey kind of like gothic novel to an extent, but in a warmer climate, which is like very different than what we're used to seeing, right? We get so used to like gothic novels being set in England, and it's raining and it's fucking cold all the time, and you're just kind of like, this is where these books are set. This is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia.
Right.
This was published in 2020. It follows a young debutante, essentially, in, I want to say, I believe it's 1950s Mexico, who is summoned to this very strange estate in the countryside by her cousin, who has married this Englishman who is living there because his family owns this estate, and she goes there because her cousin is basically indicating to her that she needs to be saved. So she's like, what the hell is going on? So she is a very unlikely, she's very sort of flighty, she's very kind of flirtatious and silly and things like that, so she doesn't really seem like the best choice necessarily, but I guess her cousin needed someone to help her. So she journeys to this very strange, sprawling estate that appears to be almost dilapidated and falling apart. However, this very wealthy-seeming family appears to own and operate this estate. And when she's there, she just begins to discover more and more kind of sinister goings-on about the family and about particularly her cousin's husband, who is kind of one of those strange combinations. He's very mysterious, which makes him very kind of attractive to a degree.
Of course.
But he's also possibly very sinister. His father also, I believe, lives on the property and is like very strange and kind of creepy.
What did he do?
And things, that's the sort of sort of lack of clarity that she has, where she can't quite figure it out, and the estate almost appears to be falling apart, but like almost not through traditional means. It's like there's something, and it's almost like the people who live there succumb to a certain madness after a period of time. Like, it's very strange. There's kind of a lot to it that weaves in together. It's one of those, if you're into sort of like forest horror, like, you know, weird, creepy, like woods and like rot and moss and stuff like that, it's going to be something that
Sounds mushy.
kind of, yeah.
Ew.
It's going to be something that kind of appeals to you in that capacity. And it is, I will say, for everything, I don't, you know, like I think I'd have to give it another shot, because I was like really on the fence about how I felt about the story overall when I did read it, when it was published. But it has such beautiful sort of lush prose and like descriptions of the setting. It's such a fascinating thing to have a novel that's very gothic in tone set somewhere like Mexico, which is just not something that we've seen very frequently in
It's not something you
past
think
times.
of.
No, that's
Yeah,
it.
when you
It's like
think
not
gothic, right?
Yeah, it's not something that immediately occurs to you, but it really fits. Like, the style of the novel really suits a very gothic tone throughout the course of it, and I think that's very much a credit to the writer, obviously, to Sylvia Moreno Garcia, who's also quite famous within the kind of horror world at this point. She's published a good number of novels now, but it's just like an interesting story. It's very original, and I do like Noemi, who's the lead character in the novel. I really liked her quite a bit as well. So I think it's something that's, if you want something a little bit different for the summer season, I think that this is something that could really appeal to you.
Is it a creature feature? It sounds like a creature thing.
Not really. I guess you could almost kind of like make it creature adjacent if you wanted to, but I would not classify it as a creature type of story.
You just made it more mysterious.
Yeah, see? Mystery makes it more interesting.
All right. For my next one,
Yes.
it is something that is also kind of like a spy thriller. You know, it's a little bit adjacent to the last one that I just spoke about, but at least this time it actually happens outside of the courtroom.
Okay, so it's not a legal thriller.
It is not a legal
Got it.
thriller. It is very much a spy assassin thing. It literally is called An Honorable Assassin. Okay, like
It's very on the nose.
it's very much on the nose. It is a book by Steve Hamilton,
Yeah.
right? Who also has a bunch of series with this guy. So the main character is Nick Mason, and there is, again, like I just said, a whole series of these books that exist. But the beautiful thing is that it is one of those that can be very much read standalone.
I
right?
love that you keep coming across these, that
I
it's sort
know.
of like these good, like really solid thriller types of things in different, slightly different subgenres of thrillers, but that things that, again, it makes it easy because you don't
makes it
have
easy.
to have read 6 fucking books before that to get there, to have that backstory.
Or even just read a synopsis of all of them just to get into this.
Yeah,
No.
like again, I don't want anybody to think that I'm shitting all over like epic or
No, no,
high
no.
fantasy right now. I'm not. It's just in the summer months, it's never something that appeals to me because I just don't want that level of world building. I want something easy and fun. And if I'm distracted while I'm like at the pool or I'm out somewhere or I'm vacationing somewhere, it doesn't matter because I can easily get back into
Yeah,
the book.
you don't have to reread 3 pages back to understand what the hell
Exactly.
happened.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah. So it follows this, let's call him assassin, essentially,
Essentially,
that's a new word. Okay.
add it to the lexicon.
So kind of like think Reacher, Jack Ryan mix type of thing,
Yeah,
you know what I
okay.
mean? And so he ends up in this whole situation of he goes on a mission somewhere, but then he's completely fucked by his handler, syndicate, whatever it is. Anyways, this is something that I would need to read more on the backstory of it. But like I
Yeah.
said, you don't really need to for this story because he gets involved into this whole thing of he needs to basically kill someone because of the circumstances going on in the book. And he has to go through this whole mission. He has to meet with a whole new team that he's never worked with before, you know, and they kind of like always undercut him and they don't really care what happens to him, but he, you know, obviously wants to survive. And if I remember correctly, it happens in Thailand or something like that. Anyways, I
Okay.
remember it just being really hot. Really, really hot during the setting of this book.
Yeah.
Right? So again, it's kind of like one of those, just makes me think summer type of thing.
Well, that makes sense.
You know?
Do you is there like double crossing that's going on
All the
between
time.
characters?
All
Okay.
the time, because they don't care what happens, and he's very much kind of like, no, we need to plan, we need to do this. Where's our plan? And they're like, fuck it, let's go, guns blazing. You
And
know?
he's like, no, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
then
no.
he's like,
He-
"Ah,
he's
fuck."
me. I'd be like, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
I
so
don't run into an assassination fucking blind. That seems like a terrible idea.
exactly. That's exactly it. So, you know, there's assassinations, there's drug lords, whatever it is that needs to happen. He gets captured. He has to evade. He also somehow has to save a child. But anyways, throughout all of that, you kind of learn what character he is from
Okay.
the previous books and novels. So
Oh,
it's like
see?
very
Yeah.
well intertwined to explain who he is as a character
Mm-hmm.
from the previous books. And it doesn't just exposition dump on you. You kind of learn it through the actions that he does. You know what I mean? So
Ooh,
it's it's
okay.
very well written that way.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that it's not, you know, well, like when you watch a film sometimes and it's a sequel to something, and so someone comes in and exposition dumps just with like a entire paragraph of
No,
a
that's it.
monologue in which they're like, well, remember when you did this thing, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like when it's poorly written, it comes
Mm-hmm.
across very, very much. And I know that happens in books as well, but I do feel like it's less frequent. I do like that there's no like, oh, remember last time when I did this thing because this is the type of character I am?
Yeah,
Like
that's
you don't have to have that. It's not necessary, so that's nice.
No, it's very well interweaved into the whole book and
Interwoven.
narrative. Interwoven?
You're so cute. Yeah.
I can't speak today. It's bad. It's been a
It's
long
the end of the
day.
week, guys. We're tired.
So yeah,
Nice. Okay. So I have like a few others roughly. That's it. Just like kind of like rapid fire that I can do. How many more do you have?
I have none.
Okay, nice. I have 3.
I mean, oh Christ. Okay. I mean, I probably could have a bunch of other ones, but
I know. Okay, so I'm going to do one
That's
right
fine.
now that I feel for both of us could potentially be a recommendation.
All right.
It is very long. It is very sprawling. However, it has that, it's like got a bunch of kids in it, particularly in the early parts of the novel. It's got that like summer, we're out of school and we have to deal with something thing. It is it.
it's it. Oh my God! The moment you said it,
Yep. And you have to admit, this is the type of story that I get that it's like over 600 or 700 pages
That's
or
super
something. It's a
long.
very long book. However, it has that kids versus monster, school's out for summer, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to deal with something. I know that the latter half of the novel doesn't necessarily feel the exact same way. However, especially in the beginning, I feel like you're so swept into it that it's the kind of story that sort of works really well that way for summer.
Yeah, I
like
can see that.
if you're looking to read something long and you're like, oh, I only want to read, let's say, one book
One
for
book,
the
yeah, that's
entire
it, that's
summer,
it.
this would be something that I would recommend people pick up. And I think you can just skip that scene later in the novel of how the kids get out of the sewer system.
Yeah.
Just skip over however many pages that is and move on. And I'm sure Stephen King would agree with me about that because he was on a lot of cocaine when he wrote that book. So, yeah.
Wow.
So that's one that I feel just, it fits really well.
Yeah.
It's like
And also just watch the movie.
oh God, they're so
The new
good.
ones, they're great.
Yeah, they're great. And watch the miniseries. Don't discount Tim Curry. Absolutely
Oh, no,
not.
for sure,
He's
yeah.
fantastic. And there's some stuff to love about that miniseries. We're going to be talking about that in our other podcast sooner
Nice.
rather than later. So I'm
I
excited
agree.
for that. Yay. My next one is also in the horror genre, and then I've got one that's a little bit more of a classic
Mm-hmm.
to wrap things up. My next one in the horror genre is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron. This is a YA novel. So again, I find that those are really good during the summer because they tend to be very fast-paced as a rule. This follows a group of young people who I believe are graduating high school, essentially.
Okay.
They work at essentially what is treated as a summer camp slasher simulation. So
Simulation, like
Yeah.
it's a game. It's an online. It's a computer
it's
game.
not online. It's
Okay.
an in-person
Okay,
thing.
okay,
So
okay,
you
okay.
know those things in that weird people pay a lot of money for that exist that are like real life simulations where you're quote unquote like kidnapped and tortured by people
Sure.
and stuff. Like these are
Yeah, it's like a
weird-
very intense like horror house, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
it. That are like full contact kinds of things. So it's that type of experience, and it is specifically a summer camp slasher set. It's very Friday the 13th. Like that's the vibe that
That
it
lasts
has.
the whole summer.
No. It's
Okay.
like like a several hours thing.
Okay, because I was like, I don't want to do this for fucking a month.
Oh my God, no. It's like a number of hours. You go one day and you do the thing. So you
Right,
go through
right,
the
right.
simulation of the slasher showing up. The lead character in the novel plays the quote unquote final girl
Mm-hmm,
character at the camp. And she's the one who like leads people through everything, like through the simulation and through all that thing. But it is one of those, they're not violent towards you, but it is full contact. They can touch you, like
Right,
those
right,
types
right,
of
right.
things, right? So, because there are different
sounds
types
cool.
of yeah. So
do it.
Yeah, so these kids work at this like camp simulation, and this is what they do. They provide entertainment to people who have paid for the experience,
Mm-hmm,
essentially. Now, what happens in the novel is that basically leading up to the final day of like the end of the summer season when they will close down everything for the experience because they only run it for a few months a year,
Right?
some of the members of the cast start actually disappearing. And they're like, they assume that they've ditched and they've like left, and because they've not wanted to have to close up everything.
sure, right.
However,
No one wants to do the cleanup.
well, that's not the case. And then slowly but surely they realize that there is an actual slasher who is reenacting some sort of apparent actual murder that took place at this lake decades prior, back in the 80s, very much because there's an actual curse allegedly on this lake. And so the kids who were working in this simulation now become the actual victims and have to fight their way through.
Is there someone named Jason?
No.
Come on.
That would be too on the nose. Come on now. And get out essentially before the end of everything and before they're caught and killed.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It kind of takes a different sort of direction towards the end that I was not expecting.
Okay.
But it was a really interesting read, and it's so, if you're into like that like summer slasher kind of vibe, it's very much something that suits that. Like it really works.
Is it fast-paced? It feels like it should be fast-paced.
Definitely.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah.
It gets right into things very quickly, you know, in the way that a slasher film will.
That's it. That's
People
what I
kind of
mean.
start disappearing off the cuff, and you're just kind of like, the characters are like, oh, I wonder what's going on with this person, or oh, fuck that person, like they've left or whatever. But you as the reader are like, nope, they definitely haven't left. That's not what's going on. And you're sort of
Right,
self-aware of what's happening. So it's interesting that
All right,
way.
cool.
But I appreciated it. It's got a good like tone and atmosphere to
Mm-hmm,
it, which is fun. And if you like Friday the 13th, I feel like there's just no question that you'll like this book.
Cool. Hey, that you sold it to me.
Yeah. And then my last one is more of a classic. Again, it's sort of difficult a little bit, I feel, to pick a classic that kind of works for the summer season, because a lot of them are a little bit long-winded maybe, or they feel like they belong at a different type of the year, because as mentioned, if it's like an older gothic novel, for instance, it almost feels like it fits like the fall better, or like a different time of year because maybe
Yeah.
it's cold or it's raining a lot or whatever the case may be.
Just always feels damp. When you say gothic, I'm like, it's raining and it's damp.
Pretty much, yes.
Ew.
And it's not that there's none of that in this book, but I do feel like this is one because it's set seaside, and there's something about it that I feel suits this season.
That's so damp in the summer. Ugh.
And it also has portions of the novel at the beginning that are set in Casablanca,
Okay.
which is very like, you know, it's hot and it's like nice
Yeah.
there, right? Or like, is it Casablanca or Monte Carlo? Anyway, whatever. It's in that area essentially. So it does feel like it kind of suits that. It's Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier.
No idea what that is.
What?
I don't. It does not sound familiar.
I guarantee we've watched at least one film adaptation of this book.
Probably.
It's such a classic.
I can't retain everything that you
Okay.
retain in my head.
Well, the book was published in 1938, so...
I definitely do not know this book.
No, it's been a minute. This follows a woman. I mean, if you're not familiar, get familiar because it's a great book. But it follows a woman who is never officially named, which is another sort of whole character exploration that I could do an entire episode about this book because it's fantastic. It follows a young woman who, when acting as a companion for an older, like, stodgy old British lady, basically in, I think it's Monte Carlo. Maybe I'm wrong. Fuck, I don't remember. Anyway, she meets a man named Maxim de Winter and falls in love with him. He is a recent widower. She falls in love with him. He's older than her, and they basically get married, sort of very whirlwind romance, and he brings her back to his very sprawling estate, which is named Manderley. But the entire time that she is there, she begins to discover information about his first wife named Rebecca, who was the first Mrs. de Winter,
Okay.
who died under sort of seemingly mysterious circumstances on the property, and Maxim refuses to speak about it, and so the new second Mrs. de Winter kind of finds herself, she's the narrator of the novel, and she finds herself in a very weirdly precarious situation with a woman who's like the housekeeper, who is very cold, very off-putting, very sinister towards her, other people who have whisperings of Rebecca and who she was, and she takes this to mean that she is lesser than in some capacity. There's so many layers to what the legacy of Rebecca does to the narrator of the novel herself, like how it affects her psyche as such a young person, as well as what she discovers about what actually happened to Rebecca, and that the wonderful, beautiful first Mrs. de Winter was perhaps not as perfect or as fantastic as everybody is making her out to be. And it's just this really interesting character exploration. And Manderley as an estate, the way that Daphne du Maurier writes it in the novel is so sprawling. It's almost like its own character in the novel. It's so fascinating. It's such an incredible book. I don't think I need to say that because I feel like most people maybe listening know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't read it, I would highly, highly recommend. And it just feels like one who, in spite of, it's not incredibly long, so it does also feel like it's something that you can pick up during the summer and get through, honestly, without, you know, feeling like you're really like in a slog and you're just kind of like, Jesus, it's hard to get through this book. There are classics that are like that. This is not one of them.
It sounds to me like something related to Bluebeard, is it?
No.
No, not close. Okay, because that's
No.
what it made me think of. But
No, it is almost like a gothic thriller to a degree in the way that it is written. Yeah. but it's great. It's fantastic. I would highly recommend, if you've not picked it up, I would highly recommend
There's a
doing
movie
so.
of it, you said, right?
There's a couple, at least
couple,
two.
okay.
At least two. We're not going to talk about the later version of it on Netflix because Armie Hammer's in it, but there is an original black and white version from the way back times that stars Laurence Olivier as Maxim de Winter. Like, it's quite famous as well. So, and it's a pretty good book. I mean, God, there are references to it to this day. I think Taylor Swift wrote a song that was partially inspired by it. A younger woman who's being sort of semi-emotionally abused by an older man who ignores her all the time. Anyway, there are just many, 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 many things. It's a very famous story, but I didn't read it when I was young. I read it when I was a little bit older, at least in my 20s, and it has stuck with me the entire time, and I've never gotten tired of it. I think it's fantastic.
Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very good recommendation.
Yeah. So these are just probably the beginnings of a list of summer recommendations, honestly. Hopefully you've gotten at least a couple that have been inspired from this. Fingers crossed. You can check out, obviously, everything that we have going on in our socials at fullybookedca. Just search for us everywhere. You can also check out all of the recommendations as well as any reviews, as we've previously mentioned, and everything over at our website at fullybooked.ca. We've got lists. We've got reviews of new and upcoming books. We've got that review of Fast and Fastidious on there too, if you want to check it out, as well as a ton of others. So feel free to go check that out if you would like to do so. But until next week, guys, keep on reading.
Ciao, guys.
Brought to you by the Capital One Savor Card. With Savor, you earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores. That's unlimited cash back on ordering takeout from home, or unlimited cash back on tickets to concerts and games. So grab a bite, grab a seat, and earn unlimited 3% cash back with the Savor Card. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.